All right, without much ado, you're in for some great book readings. Let's cross to George in the Western Cape for the 12th Funda Mzantsi Championship.
Stand by.
Good evening, Francis. I think we want to start with something different. Let's give you a view of the room. So it is a very good evening to our viewers of Full View. We are live for you here at the Eden Place Community Centre in George in the Eastern Cape. This is a book lovers festival unlike any other I think many people might have attended in their lifetimes. And what makes it different? We have 300 inmates from across the country's correctional facilities who have competed in their individual institutions to emerge as the best of the best. And here they are tonight over the course of a week, battling it out with local communities and universities to show who emerges as the ultimate book aficionados. It is an amazing event and initiative that's in partnership with the Department of Correctional Services, in partnership with the George Municipality and the National Library of South Africa. This is all about the love for books. And again, you know, for people who might think it's such an unusual association, thinking about inmates and using books as a means to rehabilitate. As we said in our earlier crossing, this is all about creating a vision, a dream, and that is what books allow us to do. Part of the championship formula is, of course, the Department of Correctional Services, and I'm joined by the National Commissioner for Correctional Services, Mr. Makgoti Tobagale. Good evening to you and welcome. I imagine that when you look across this room and you see all of these amazing faces gathered together with one mutual focus in mind, and that is the love of books and improving our literary abilities. How does that make you feel, and why are you so passionate?
It makes us feel proud as the Department of Correctional Services because our mandate is to finally ensure that the offenders that finish serving their sentences end up being reintegrated back into communities. Now, if you look at what is happening here today, in fact, for the whole week, we have offenders that are still serving their sentences, participating in a competition with book clubs from schools, book clubs from members of the community. So they are already participating in that process of reintegrating themselves into the community as part of a rehabilitation and correctional programs that we run as a department. But what also makes us very proud is the fact that it's not only the department, as you've already indicated. We work in partnership with the municipality, we work in partnership with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Library, South African Library Services. So this is a partnership that is meant to enrich the community, that is meant to ensure that we have safer communities, we reduce the levels of crime in our country.
Certainly you can see, you know, there's such a beautiful and high energy. It's something, again, you don't often associate with people who society feels has lost their way and, of course, damage to society. People who are, in a sense, having to heal the wounds of, you know, those who their actions have affected, but also to begin that inner healing for themselves. It's also very much a part of the four-pronged pillar of the Department of Correctional Services in how you go about rehabilitating people and having them back in society. Just tell us a bit more about this holistic approach to rehabilitation.
We have psychological services in correctional services. We also have got social workers. We have what we call correctional programs. When you get admitted into a correctional facility, you sign what we call a sentence plan. Part of that sentence plan is your journey for rehabilitation and corrections. Now, we don't only work on the soul, we also work on the mind. Because we recognize the fact that behind bars, there are also brains. Now we activate those brains. That's why the motto of Funda Mzantsi is developing creative minds. With those minds being developed, the offenders can now be authors, they can be writers. Some of them have even written plays, dramas. Others have even acted in those dramas themselves. Now we are developing an industry, but at the same time, we are also giving them an opportunity to participate in broader educational programs. That is at the core of rehabilitation.
Listen, let's not forget it's also a competition, and competition is fierce. I know we're going to be in a debate a little bit later on. We're going to have a spelling bee. So the stakes are very, very high, and I'm almost loath to ask you whether you think the community, the universities, or our inmates are going to emerge as the ultimate champions.
Our inmates always win because they are very good. But I must also indicate that everybody who participates in this competition is a winner, because in the first instance, what we do is to encourage the formation of book clubs. So in as much as it's a competition, a fierce competition, we are equal to the task as the Department of Correctional Services with our inmates. Let's see what members of the community can show us. Let's see what the school book clubs will show us.
Guys, the gauntlet has been thrown down. This is going to be exciting to watch. Just a final thing, because part of your work is around reporting on the success of these programs. How would you rate the success of programs within our country's correctional services that take inmates to another place in terms of development and seeing a future despite what has happened in the past?
I've indicated that this project itself is at the heart of educational programs that we run. The offenders that participate in these programs as part of their rehabilitation have a less than 1% rate of reoffending.
Wow, that's...
In fact, they continue to even enroll for higher education, enroll for further education and training in TVET colleges also. So we are actually making a difference in their lives.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and it's really heartening to hear the progress that you make and, of course, the prognosis for rehabilitation and success of a program like this. So thank you very much for sharing that insight with us. So what's coming up next? We have on stage, looking stunning, Rafiwa Mamidza, who is from the Ozias Davanya Secondary School, and she's going to read a passage in Chivenda from the book Micheto by A.W. Machal, and she's going to read from paragraph 3, page 4. Give it your best, darling.
Ndiani raisa mahaka chipenge, zina ni ropowa mamiza. Odobara kuku yo ringwa zina, micheto yawa. Yo marongeni mwali makode, magau. Liko dobara kasia tarlabuna, kandi mana ya borari. Kara zina tela mumara, zina mama tambu. Vachishika kala murau, uri na tanga yeku tindeli bako waone. Watera ima. Kone mukara na wale mtebu. Uri mwana tuwabo. Libo mara. Ni mwana wasu. Oyu mwana ukakasu. Na one lipano do farero lukanga. Libo bara gai. Sene sipao. Libo shoku pera na zwada. Wamara. Wamatamure. Kama wakorore oyu mwana. Na one. Vagana ye katina wapezi bawe. Anenge murau lupera ni wanguyanga. Ndiba barabari. Zene sibono pila pandani. Vati monera nge murau hayo. Vama tamule. Ababa bari na wakebu. Na mkebu. Vagana mafungo. Abubaya bao imana. Atulao hapa. Zina wale tashanzi. Kama derimu. Ndiba mera zene zibuta nobo. Watura murau wanguyanga. Ndivana musibo turazuloni ngena muchaka namwana batogwana mafasi.
Are you okay?
No, I'm good. Vamatangule vatorora zote zeva zibona ezothundeni azitha zethundeni azitha umana muziba chungova. Vona phetha utangiyela zeva zibona vasumeza aba babili ilathunda yanthundeni ayitha ndoyibuwa.
Well done to Rafiwa, read with such passion and conviction. All right. So I want to bring the conversation back into the room. I want to introduce our viewers to Tato Tahe, who is 31 years old. Now, Tato was sentenced to Tato is 31 years old, but he was sentenced to 10 years behind bars after being convicted of attempted murder. Tato has already served 3 years and 7 months, and he's actually currently studying towards a BCom Business Information degree with UNISA. Tato, thank you very much for being willing to share your story with the rest of the country. And tell us how it is that you ended up behind bars.
It's careless mistakes and not thinking about my decisions. And that's how I landed up in here. And I then got sentenced to 10 years for attempted murder.
You know, we talk about these moments in a way that's almost, you know, so easy, it's just a headline, but a headline has a life story behind it. It has the story not just of you, Tato, it has the story of your family and everyone who loved you. Talk to us about the impact on that day when you heard your sentence and realized you were going to be spending all that time behind bars.
It was quite heavy, and my world just stopped instantly. And during my time in here, it actually gave me time to actually further introspect and actually look at myself. And I've got a bigger view of what I actually want to achieve in life. And it's changed my perspective of life and being more serious. So I want to actually do greater things when I come out.
I guess that's the reason then that you decided to go down the academic path. Why did you choose the degree that you chose?
I've always had an interest in computers and business. So considering that we're currently in the fourth industrial revolution, I chose BCom Business Informatics. And those paired up together should create better opportunities for myself outside.
How does life after being behind bars look like to you?
It looks quite positive. I know that it seems quite difficult, but I'm quite positive and optimistic. And being inside it teaches me to always be creative and think that it's not the end of the road. My world did not end with me being incarcerated. I'm still alive, and there's more outside. And the support, DCS introduces us to lots of support mechanisms, and hopefully I'll gain from that.
Well, you have to know that all of our hopes and our intentions and our dreams for you are there. You have, you know, everyone's, you know, kind of well wishes for you to be able to achieve all of these things you've shared with us now. When we think about this competition, the Funda Mzantsi competition, and the energy was so beautiful, so high, what made you want to be a part of this?
Being inside sparked the need and wanted to actually read. And reading is actually, there's a big choice of books to read from, and non-fictitious and fictitious books. And more than anything else, being in Funda Mzantsi and representing all 11 of official languages, it sparked an interest to actually to learn about all the other indigenous languages which I actually didn't have an interest in, and it's quite an exciting journey for me.
You came here to win. There's lots of lovely trophies just near the stage. Are you hoping that you and your team are going to go away with some of them?
Hopefully, Team Gauteng is a city of gold, so we shall see.
Tato, thank you very much for that. These are such amazing and uplifting stories. Of course, these are serious issues in South Africa. Crime is a huge issue in our country. But people who have the opportunity to change, people who are given the opportunity to change, to make something of their lives, is something that we can, I think, in many ways celebrate and support. On that note, we've got something exciting coming up for you just after the break, the very first of our spelling bees. And Phoenix Raising Cloud Taron is from the Worcester Female Correctional Center. She's part of the Robben Island Book Club, and Emily Ndala is from the Tembisile Book Club in Kwagga, both in the Western Cape, and they'll be taking part shortly. I can't wait to see what happens. Stay with us.